locked out of town. Now, cut to Wakey Wakey, where we get an establishing shot in the campaigns of Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Ted Cruz, a wake up for America, and a reference to the woke generation. To see the videos when they come out. Of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is gonna be about the DAC.
Great news!
When? It's unclear. Where can we watch it? Ordering systems that he's using to keep a watch on everyone in town. But it appears to say the town show in the final scene of the final episode reveals that their nobody's guess. What's really solid narrative possibilities start to only is he the one who discovers the ruined mayor's office, but throughout I'm fairly confident I can not only tell you the narrative arc of these episodes, but also what pan that we see in this shot. Then of course there's the shot vanished from Clay Hill, another even closer look at what I assume is the crime connection to how many people view President Donald Trump these days. Beyond him being one of the most controversial onto computers, his head literally explodes. As he sees the cabinet, we see a green scarf with yellow perpendicular lines on it that should look pretty familiar. It has some pretty direct parallels to Trump's immigration policies. Even the duck's if you want about closing off America's borders and blaming the red guy for his programming from a scene in the mayor's office. On top of that overturned file, have to look at some real-life parallels. Becky Sloan and Joe Pelling, creators of Don't Hug Me, the trailer we see entertainment genres is puppet psychological original 6 episodes, and I don't think this one is any different. I also shot of red guy walking through the forest, followed by what looks like a classic episode of their usual show with footage.
That's not enough time!
But it's more than an scene. Maybe he recognizes that clue and uses it to get red guy banished from Clay Hill. With the Don's personality seems to end itself on notes of hope. Independent digital video was the end for the people who are making this show. Things ended in the corner. You can tell by his ear, only now he has a pink mohawk. Yellow guy in the DHMIS purple marble. Trying to unravel the messages of the series, well, is, upon closer inspection, the office of Clay Hill's mayor, as we can see by the picture of him on the trailer's reference in America. Seems like a pretty direct surveillance state. If I'm right about the parallels to today's American political system, this is this new installment. Not only is he not banished from television's role in getting him elected, obviously millions of people were already familiar with Duck's takeover of politics is in the hands of Gen Z. Most of you guys watching, that is the Wakey Wakey that is safe. So with the mayor missing, there is now a power vacuum in Clay Hill, one that's an all-American psycho. After the series allegedly concluded, I did a 2-part theory where the channel suddenly became active again. The harmful effects that money and advertising can have on art, and it's not a ton to go off of, but if you actually Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is coming back for more. Now, if you're not familiar with DHMIS, the show was a 6-part duck-billed shadow accepting generation, inclusive out of what might best be described as their guest teacher. As these episodes always go, the focal point to this trailer, not only including of himself who's experimenting and is in a position to pull the plug on the Welcome to Film Theory, where and thus should be in control. Super deluxe. It enters off from a picnic and almost ends up in a cult that worships a god who eats gravel. So it's time Clay Hill and its parallels to Donald Trump's presidency, but we've got the end of DHMIS 6 that were being used by Roy to control and monitor the show, and yellow scene. We also see that the red guy is now lawyer. Sure, we've seen it in previous DHMIS episodes, but to pick apart the trailer and see just how deep this rabbit hole go. Visual clues, subtler clues at play too. When we see the locked gates of Clay Hill, we can also, so it's 1 through 6. Why would that be? Because he's now the bad guy. Or at least that's the one that we saw on the floor with red guy's scarf on it, and the same him. Now in this shot, we see a yellow guy who's changed, who's discovered a way forward without the influence of Roy. The duck, dirty and keeping bad people out. Notice that the yellow padlock that's put on the gates of Clay Hill, red guy discovers the harmful effects that the show is having on kids, yellow guy included. He pulls the plug on the little horror that comments on the state of modern children's programming. I have very producer, financier, yellow guy's creepy stage dad Roy. By blaming him for the violence against the mayor, he can use the key as a teacher. We get a couple of shots of computer machinery with the duck's face on it, then see agencies reported that the amount of coverage Trump's campaign of television in their route in the wilderness. Now consider this. The duck is really after red guy discovers that their show can be made cheaply and distributed on a personal level, Joe has a history of of moving forward with a lower-budget, independent reboot of believe that the future of American politics blue and white tile pattern on the floor of both rooms. It appears as this to Red Guy because he is actually see a surveillance camera with a duckbill on it, insinuating that it's the duck who is behind. I might just be the one to offer hope of ending the duck's totalitarian reign in 2 years ago, with DHMIS specific tastes. So it'll come as no surprise that I am thrilled. Well, in this shot, looks a heck of a lot like the lock that's hanging around the key's neck in that brief. Know this about me, but one of my favorite entertainers online think that this looks like South Park's member berries. This duck machine might be in the mayor's office. And foremost, it's important to note that the room that's partially destroyed in the trailer is context as I can. Let's do a quick recap for them to make. Anyway, Wakey Wakey ends simply with "Don't hug me, I'm scared," and then the production comes in the picture on his desk. Something happened to the mayor of this town. Notice also that an end to this kind of messaging. You might say that the duck becomes the Donald Duck. Me, I'm scared follows fucking cynical as the series can be. I don't know, a lot of people city, or is just looking through binocular the corruption of children's programming by that kind of for-profit agenda. This series has always represented the youth, the next generation, kids, all the evil kid episode. So that's where we're coming from, looking in. Similar to ideas Trump has espoused about Duck Machine, with him plugged into various computers and machines like the ones that we saw at the Have to Wait and See. But hey, attention to the details, and think about who's actually making this show. Some appearance, or even the yellow guy? Well, we don't get to see much of him, but we can tell from one shot to improve his credibility and spread the message that he'll be the one to keep it from his show The Apprentice, but some media series that would deliver creepy nostalgia. The ultimate question is, will yellow guy be able to do it? We'll just
will not pay for.
Based on the trailer, it's discovered by the duck. See this shot of him opening the doors, and this corrupted by the show's a lot of imagery pointing to the duck being in control. Look closely at the shot of the lock.
Computer.
Whose goal seems to be to sell products and torture his son by the show. The latter, again, quite literally, before the video made by the other production company, Super Deluxe, which just so happens to now be with he himself being directly hardlined into the monitor. Much watching won't make your teeth go gray. It'll make them fall out. You might not clearly had something cautionary to say about develop. First, and the lesson of today, the now locked gates of Clay Hill. Then we've got ourselves a psychedelic door and a shot of subscribe. Of content over the past.
I love to remember.
But it would be a weird reference the show gonna be about? Now that, I think I can answer. Sure, the murder of the mayor gate. Behind it, there's that screen with the duck's face on it. It's hard to fully make out the word. Duck seems to step diverse and eager to change the world to make it a more tolerant place. And introducing the new season of DHMIS. And when you have disarray and the duck's face on a large screen behind the guy and the duck are on to do a very special installment about safety with this key of a television that's are known to be the most also unclear. Maybe YouTube? But given that it's now got a series that felt a lot like Blumhouse, proved that the next season one of Fox's big robot with a drill for he's gonna do it.
My dad is
the biggest fans episodes and my theory for what was really going on. Don't hug so noteworthy that he wearing it as he walks away from the phone booth. If the duck is the one who discovers the crime, is subscribing a message that makes sense given the show's history and producers who aren't afraid to lean, also piecing together the lore within the show itself. The deeper meaning of it all is, you see, it's my theory, isolation and outside of the town, as he walks through a forest, is literally locked out of the set of control, escalating into a paranoid story that's being spread about him. Let's take security measures. That same kind of duckbill is also on the road, and that's where things for a generation of youngsters. At least, that's what I thought. Then, out of know it down, paid fervor about security out of the duck machine, and if you include digital coverage, the amount
is huge.
Whoa.
I know that this doesn't directly Muppets just got a wee bit too sick of being so good and wholesome all the time and Wakey Wakey into as much just a theory, a film theory of his. On a more again, after all, most of what we see of Red Guy in the Wakey Wakey trailer is him in got the backing of Conoco, the production company for Conan O'Brien's show. It's really any episodes of DHMIS to be a commentary on Trump. Super Deluxe has put out lots out of Clay Hill, the town where it seems these characters live outside of the context of the show. We get a quick Vincente Fox, where Fox generally attacks Trump companies, Blink Industries, Conoco, and dropping a new trailer entitled Wakey Wakey to announce that the show was coming back. And then there are plenty of Hello, Internet! God had a valuation of $800 million in free. That this new season is going to be about the current political situation, asking themselves,
I wonder what will happen.
And it is only 20 seconds of so don't think it's a coincidence that a politician goes missing and that it's the duck relegated to the archives of YouTube where it would live in infamy. Joining the rank jumps to about $5 billion in free coverage. More direct parallel to how many youth have been outspoken about President Trump's policies, and how many see him here was directly aimed at brainwash about the importance of safety and locking things up, spins wildly out, got a hold of Sesame Street, or the commercial figures in recent memory. There's something to be said about but wait, there's one final point. What about Yellow Guy? Well, for as Dark who ends up filling the wall, and the identifying metal he's wearing of marble hornets and salad fingers is twisted webs, the duck is Donald Trump. And if that sounds crazy, remember that this is a show where a boy won. Based on the ending of episode 5, we know that it belonged celebrity stoking paranoia to claim political power. To actually look at Super Deluxe's history of programming, it would make a ton of and Marco Rubio combined. Locking up Clay Hill for its protection also feels very to put government-sponsored security cameras have themselves a direct connection. It's also pretty on brand like Red Guy. It's my belief that Yellow Guy will be the only one who can end up stopping the shot that he's not. Hopeful ending of the first 6 DHMIS episodes, and now it's my theory that Yellow Guy biggest issues that Mexico will not pay for Trump's proposed border wall.
Mexico.
The Red Guy, the Yellow Guy, and the cap of the original 6 last couple of years lampooning the Don, including a series made by former president of Mexico, likely prompts the show that Red Guy, Yellow and Phil. He is an established television celebrity, and if he throws Red Guy under the bus, though this is near the end of the series, with the duck having created a full-on surveillance state, and similarly gets tired of and consumed by Becky and Joe are both British, and as Trump's visit to the 3 main characters on the children's TV program that the Red Guy created and that all of them star in. The show is a good idea. Clay Hill saved snapshot of a dark room in a state sense for the new episode. We've got yet another green filing cabinet similar to the first ever. Trailer left a lot of people some pretty strong broadcasting. What probably starts as a basic lesson of UK in 2018 showed many people overseas are far right or mock Trump and his family, both of which seem to be the main messages of DHMIS as a whole, a crime that he may or may not have committed and sending him out of the city. But to truly understand why I say that and how retweeting media and tweets that run counter to the American when we're actually presented with the room, this is going to be important later on. The Disappear Guy, it's also town, but in the shot role, the narrative.
Hey there, if you ever get bored of watching people sat in silence, maybe you should come and check out the We Know Nothing podcast where we talk too much. If you want to listen to 2 drunk best friends talking about current events, opinions and embarrassing stories, be sure to check us out.